After our initial drive-by of the Haunted Bridge, we took a look around and then performed our ritual. All members of Midwest Spirits have experience in one or more occult tradition, and we always perform a short ritual when seeking contact with the spirits. Something to let them know we're listening to them, and to open up a gateway to alternate dimensions the spirits may reside in. We keep an open mind about the nature of the phenomenon, and would never claim to know exactly what it is and how it works. But these rituals have been used by like-minded seekers for thousands of years, and we would be foolish not to use this tool in our toolbox. We also set up a camera and a shotgun microphone focused on the bridge to see if we could catch any activity. Then we retreated to the van to take in the experience ourselves and discuss more about the Avon Haunted Bridge and what people had been experiencing there. Alright, so here we are, all set up. And as you folks can see, we've got a camera out covering the bridge with a little shotgun mic there, see if we catch anything. Right before we set up, and we might have caught it, I'm not sure. We heard some crying, but we also saw some people up crawling around the bridge. So I think the first thing we need to state that any recording, any audio recording, any video recording we have of this bridge, since obviously we can't control the situation, is just, it's interesting, but it's not evidence. You guys agree with that?
Yeah, the baby crying was a very specific sound. But then there were these two dogs that walked by that were making really weird sounds. And the way that the bridge is designed, it could have carried that and made us all think it was a baby sound. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, I kind of think that sound that we heard was very likely the people that were up there when we first got here.
Yeah.
So that's my take on it. I don't think we heard anything paranormal necessarily. The most consistent sound that I've heard thus far is the sound of falling rocks.
And water. Because we're right next to a creek.
So yeah, I'm more interested in the legends. And once again, here we have, nothing confirmed. There's no historical record of anyone dying during the construction or after the construction anywhere around this bridge.
The original legend about the woman and her baby was the first bridge, because it was 1800 legend. This bridge was built in 1905.
Right. And then we have that second legend of, and this varies by who tells it, of a bridge worker. Sometimes he's described as an African-American man, sometimes as an Irishman.
Even had an Asian one. The Asian guy was one of the construction workers. Then there was another one where all four of them fell.
Yeah. So the one with the one guy, apparently some kind of framing collapsed and he landed in the concrete and he ended up as a part of the concrete of the bridge.
Yeah, but the one newscast, the old article I read, pretty much said that didn't happen.
Yeah, that sounds a little far-fetched to me also.
Yeah.
Here's the only thing I'll say about that. It's not impossible. Because if it was someone who was marginalized, if it was someone who's African American or even Irish, and they died in a construction accident, there's a lot of reasons why that would not get reported. No one would care. And, the people who are building the bridge wouldn't want it reported. But it's suspect.
Yeah. I agree with that. But bridges are liminal spaces, which I think is going to be a Midwest Spirit term that we're going to use a lot. We all are drawn to and acknowledge the liminal spaces. And those are places that are in between. And this is a bridge that covers road and water, which is not unheard of, but is unusual.
Yeah. And also, going back to that Keelian perspective, John Keel, and this is something that gets mentioned in Hellier, is is that spirits, reports of spirits, and aliens, and cryptids, all of the above, often has the reports of babies crying or women crying. And I don't know if Keel gets into why that would be a thing, but my speculation is that those noises are visceral to human beings. I mean, that's biological programming for us to respond to those kind of noises. So if something who's not human, wants to get our attention, well, that would be a good noise to use, wouldn't it?
Yeah. And what do you think?
I think there's something to be said for the concept of thought forms. Basically, the idea around that is that something has such history behind it, or notoriety, or so many people have put energy into a thing that it becomes real on an astral level. Crybaby bridges in America are a phenomenon that you can find all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in the Midwest and in the South. So what I wonder is maybe it has less to do with any sort of active haunting and more of a sort of astral construct that just manifests with certain bridges. And like Marianne said, with this being such a liminal spot with a bridge that covers both land and water, I think it is entirely possible that this kind of bridge would be a really good core location for that kind of phenomenon to happen.
It's a spot for passing through. And even while we're sitting here, we don't have our cameras on the road because we're not trying to film the folks, but there's just a lot of folks going by here, enjoying the park. And
this covers two roads. There's a road over here to our right that's not
road over
caught in
here
film.
that, people passing through, the water's passing through. So much energy, for lack of a better word, is passing through here. And so, is this an opening? I mean, this is all speculation, obviously, but, if my theory is that, there are beings who are not entirely in this dimension who at times cross through. And would this be a good place for them to do it? Seems to be.
I would assert that this is an excellent place for that kind of thing because, we have water right here. And in a lot of spiritual traditions, water is a gateway for spirits, just like mirrors. So the idea that this place could be kind of like a thoroughfare for spirits is entirely possible. What I will say is that thus far, I've not heard or felt nothing stirring me that makes me feel like there is any huge activity yet. But, we're approaching nightfall. And, a lot of times in a lot of these situations, spirit activity tends to kick up after dark. Yeah. So it's entirely possible that maybe we'll get something. But we're also very realistic about this in that there's a very real possibility we might get nothing.
Yeah. So. And talking, picking up where you're talking about the river, which is, a creek, but it's a river. The most prominent, most well-known geographic feature of the underworld is the River of the Dead, the River Styx. That river that flows through the worlds. And the other thing I find really interesting, as I mentioned before, just how pervasive this legend is. We first learned about this when we came to Avon looking to buy a new car.
Yeah.
And the car dealer, we're out test driving this car, and he starts talking about this bridge that we're passing. That this bridge is haunted. So it's one of those things where it's organic. This is really in the community. I think some folks around that we've talked to, doing this investigation, they knew about the haunted bridge.
Yeah, the couple I talked to, they were very nice, and I asked them if they lived here, and they said they did, and they've lived here most of their lives in Avon. And they're like, "You're here investigating the haunted bridge," and I'm like, "Yep." And they were really open about it. They're like, "Yeah, we've been up in the bridge. Apparently, part of the inside of this bridge, there's a walkway where you can walk between the little arches up there." They've taken their son up there and walked in there, and they've never had any personal experiences. And they asked me about whether we found any validity in any of the claims as far as people dying here. But yeah, and they believed it was haunted, which is always interesting to me because there's that. It's like 76% of people that are asked believe in ghosts.
Yeah.
But they don't believe in magic. That's a weird correlation for me. It's like, huh?
Yeah. And the City of Avon website
This is the photo.
has a PDF about this haunted bridge.
They do.
The Wikipedia page for the City of Avon, the main picture for it is a picture of this bridge labeled Avon Haunted Bridge.
The Wikipedia page for White Lick Creek has a picture of this bridge. Avon Haunted Bridge.
Avon Haunted Bridge. So it's known. It's a well-known one. I'm sure other people have come out here and investigated it. I haven't ran across any, and obviously the local news station runs stuff about this all the time.
Well, every Halloween kind of thing.
Yeah, that's that Halloween fluff piece that they like to do. So, what do you guys say we do a spirit box session out here and see who we might be able to talk to?
When you touched the bridge, did you get any vibe from it when you touched it?
I have to be honest, not really.
Yeah.
Usually, and mind you, hearkening back to something you said just a minute ago, you were talking about how people are quick to believe in hauntings, but not to believe in magic. My thing is I completely believe in magic, but I am quite the skeptic when it comes to hauntings.
Yeah.
I have done paranormal investigation before. I have been in a lot of places that were quote unquote haunted, and I've been in some creepy places that definitely there were some very strange vibes. I've experienced spiritual activity, but I am very skeptical to call the place haunted quickly.
I agree.
You should be.
Yeah. When I touched the bridge, I know a lot of, and we could talk about this in another session of Midwest Spirits. I didn't get a vibe out of the stone itself, but when I touched the water, it looks like a black mark on the bridge, but that's actually water running down, and there's like moss and mud in the water. And it's running down continuously, so it is running water. I got a vibe of violence towards women, but it didn't feel like death. Now, we're in a public park where there's a big bridge up above us. It could have been, violence against women is prevalent all across the world. So whether that vibe was, of the park, of the area, of, something that happened on the train, I don't know. But that was the only weird vibe that I got. And that was when I touched the water, not the bridge.
All right. You guys ready to bust out the spirit box?
I'm ready.